Hello. It's time to draw. Believe me when I say that it is time to draw. Hello, Ben. Hello, Alexander. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Nabs. It's go time, people. Get that piece of paper. Get that Photoshop document. Get to drawing. Do that drawing you always told yourself you would do. It's a great week to be a Steven Zapata fan. It's a great week to be Steven Zapata. Getting to draw plenty this week. Drawing weird stuff again? That's the only thing I draw. Hi, Magda. Bye, 24. Nice to just see your name in the chat. That hour-long video came out yesterday, Joe. Your sense of time is all warped, distorted. Do you even know what year it is? I hope you know what year it is. More demons for pandemonium. More. I don't think I have one to commit to yet for the fourth head. Might just sketch here for a bit. Look, it's all right. It's all right to not know. I have already succeeded because I have begun to sketch. I have not yet even begun to sketch. Sam Lamb. Good to see you in here, Sam Lamb. Let me just tell y'all about the incredible Sam Lamb. Sam Lamb is such a generous human being that he, someone who took my workshop back in June, actually took it upon himself to offer a scholarship, the Sam Lamb Memorial Scholarship, to 2 people for the October workshop. He picked up the tickets for their seats. Who does that? The incredible Sam Lamb, ladies and gentlemen. The world is full of generous people. Incredible things do happen. I think I never asked this one. I know you know a lot, about everything, but have you been expanding on anything else? I'm talking like books. Expanding? Like, am I learning any new things lately? Like, specifically, pointedly? I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that for a little bit. I think most of my efforts have been focused on my art stuff lately and writing some courses and things like that. I'm always reading. I do love reading. I just read Piranesi. Nice little book. Nice little fantasy book. Yes, I did indeed learn anatomy with Ray Bustos when I was at Art Center. Took a few classes with him. He is a true anatomist. He is not just someone who knows anatomy for art. He is like a real, actual anatomist. He knows medical anatomy. He could help surgeons understand anatomy. He knows animal anatomy. He is a true anatomist, an anatomist. You know what? I'm sketching this with my liner brush. How do I want to play this? How do I want to play this? Let me think about this for a second. I like how abstracted that feels, but maybe that area is getting a little bit too feeling like a statue instead of like an organic thing, which could be fine. Could definitely do that if I want. But I think I'd need to set up for it first. I think that's a little bit more straightforward and reasonable for painting up. I do hope everyone's doing fine on this lovely Wednesday. And I hope that if your hand and your heart have wished to draw today, that you have found a moment to draw. I like how, yeah, because these other ones are pretty bottom heavy, but they still have big foreheads, so they kind of balance out proportion wise. I like that he's bottom heavy, but the forehead is very small. Hello, Node. Hi, William. Is liquefy tool cheating? Nothing is cheating in art except for stealing other people's art. Everything else is a-okay, good to go. There is no evaluation process for art. There is no International Council of Standards for the honorable position of artist. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Liquefy, tracing, referencing photos, being heavily influenced by other artists, ripping off your own work, having your dog draw half of it. Nothing is cheating. If you feel like it's cheating, or you think, no, it must be cheating, it's because you're telling yourself a weird personal story about what art is supposed to be. You have your own internal standards for it. And that's fine. That just means that that's part of your, like, artist statement. But don't trick yourself into thinking that it's a real thing about art. It's a perfectly fine thing for you to put on a museum placard, like, Benjamin Ragaford believes that to trace or to use reference is the lowest, most ignoble thing an artist can do. As such, he works exclusively from his imagination, from the internal visualizations that he finds while ruminating on the economy and the ups and downs of his personal relationships. It's like, you write that on a little plaque, that's perfectly fine, that's all branding. That's trying to convince people that you're more interesting than you are, but it's not real. It's not real. In fact, it's so structureless. Art is so structureless that the only reason that stealing other people's art is cheating is just because it's illegal. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. If it weren't for that, wouldn't matter if you did that either, if that's what made you happy. But it is illegal, and you will get sued, and you will take away someone else's lunch, so it is cheating. It's cheating the social contract, not the art world. Can't cheat the art world. Art is artifice, illusion. It is insubstantial. There are no rules, nothing solid about it. This is what makes it so fascinating, flexible. This is why it has always existed. Sam Lamb says, doesn't art just come fully formed and unbegotten from the abyssal void that precedes phenomenal manifestation? It might. That's the problem. Therein lies the problem. That really might be the case. I see nothing in my experience to disprove that. I'm getting distracted drawing this with like hard round opacity stuff and things like that. I forgot that I'm not doing that for these because these are not going to be drawings. These are going to be paintings. So I should quit that. Spare myself work later on. Let's see if I can do a better one that's like that. Like that, but better. Calm down, Photoshop. So dramatic. It is impossible to use this brush. You have entered a numerical value of 0. This invalidates it. Don't you see? A brush cannot have a width of 0. Calm down. Jesus. No, already off to a bad start there. This really fleshy one, maybe I do need to draw it with a little bit of... Because it needs quite a bit of flow. This one. It is what it is. Says the monster with the horns is my fave. Very cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that. We finished that one yesterday on stream. There he is. We kept the eyebrows. You know, we committed from the start. We got the eyebrows in there. I refuse to pull the punch. I don't really know where I'm gonna go next for the next head, but I just thought I wanted to do a meaty one because I did a meaty one to start, and then I did two that were pretty not meaty, you know, pretty thinner faces, gaunter faces, and then that one went extremely gaunt. So I was like, let's go back and do a meaty one, another meaty one. I also had some idea to maybe do a triple or some kind of multiple. I don't think I want to do, that one's just there to remind me that I had that idea. I don't think I want to do something exactly like that because it's just 3 normal faces. I think I want to find a more interesting configuration for that. Man, ears are so fun to draw, not fun to paint. I guess they are fun. It just, God, they take longer than anything else. The ear, it's like the hand of the face. It can take as long as the whole rest of the head just to paint the ear nicely. Samuel Coomer says, you seem so patient when you draw. My ego wishes it could only do the same. I'm more patient than I used to be, but I wouldn't say I'm very patient. I'm not as patient as I'd take as much patience as my body could offer, so. I used to be much more, really bad, very, very impatient. And it made drawing almost impossible for a long time. And I had to undo that bit by bit once I realized that it was all the result of terrible programming from too much bad art content on the internet and out in the world in general. If you have any interest in doing good work, you should be as patient as possible. the desire to rush, the desire to want things to be finished, the desire for things to look good quickly. That is like, that's a mean little poison that the internet and Instagram put in all of us. And every little bit that you can fight it is worth it. You know how there's nothing in the rule book that says a dog can't play basketball? There's nothing in the rule book that says a drawing should be done quickly. Same thing. Bye, Sam. Or is it Joe who's leaving? I don't know. I just read random things in the chat and make assumptions. Whoever's leaving, goodbye. Second here. No, I don't have it. So you guys talking about masks in the chat. I'm looking for a old piece of mine, but I don't have it on this computer. Never mind. I like this song. This song's a jam right here. Draw along, people, draw along. Take this opportunity to get a little drawing in. You always wish you could do more of it, right? Well, this is your chance. Hello, Skiatron. Hello to all drawing companions, old and new. Creepy! I don't dislike the second one, but the first one's better. The first one has a stranger design, more interesting proportional breakups if I break up. Let's look at like the forehead to the mid to the bottom. It's got like a clean division of small, medium, large. Whereas the second one just got a little bit more regular, a little bit more the same on each of the sections. One more sketch. Let's see if I can top the first one. If not, we'll clean and fix the first one and see if we paint it or whatever. We'll go to something else. We'll sketch something else. Nah, that'd ruin it. What about this? No. No. Nope. 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 Yeah, it's better like that. Maybe I'll bring these guys out to here, though. All right, we got time for that. We got time. Well, if it isn't Nate. Haven't seen you around these parts in a while. When do you consider that an artist stole art instead of transforming it or making it their own? Like, how much do you have to transform a piece to make it your own? I think basically any amount of transformation is a goodly amount of transformation. I don't know. You know what? It's too nuanced a topic, honestly. I don't think I want to talk out of my ass about it because it might influence you too much. I would say if you're going to take a lot of stuff from something else that you like, try to change the bones instead of the details. Transform the bones. Steven Zapata supports art theft? You bet. Is any piece of art 100% your own? Doesn't all you create ultimately come from nature or someone else? I think so. I think it's impossible for anyone to create something that's truly alien. I don't think our minds are actually capable of that. There were certain things from my childhood that influenced me that whenever I think about them, I'm like haunted. I'm like, oh my God, have I just been doing that since I was 7 and I've literally never changed or done anything else? Give me a second. Just because this is a very interesting discussion. See, this is just one example, so you can't use it as everything, but I think it's better than not discussing it. All right, here's a painting I did on the YouTube a while ago to celebrate 10K. This is Philosophizing Demons, right? And here's one of my favorite paintings that I ripped off for this. This is Mutants by, I don't know how to pronounce this, Geli Korzev. So let's put them right next to each other. So, besides the fact that I'm not Geli Korzev, right, that he's a much better painter than I am, are these the same painting? Yes, right? Clearly, I am heavily, heavily influenced by this. But are these the same painting? Not at all, right? I didn't trace anything. The composition is different and significantly different, right? There's a completely different depth. There's a foreground section in my painting that is not in his. None of his creatures have been used directly or in the same spots or anything like that. Like, yeah, basically none of it is the same, quote unquote, right? Someone in the chat just said the word homage, right? Like, forget semantics. Like, I'm not really interested in the semantics, right? Like, because everybody's gonna draw a different line between what's an homage, what's a ripoff. If everybody in the chat tried to say right now what the definition of a ripoff is, right, you would get 106 different answers to what a ripoff is. And if everybody tried to define what an homage is, everybody would give a different definition for what an homage is. So, like, the semantics of it are no good, or at least uninteresting to me, and I don't think useful. I think one of the better things, especially when we're speaking artist to artist, is how do you do it, right? What is the operational part, what is the operational part of how you do it, right? So the way that I did it is that I just said, well, I love this painting. I've loved it for years and years, and I've always wanted to do one like it. This was a good opportunity for it. So I said, I'm just gonna look at it as much as I want while I do mine, but I'm not gonna trace it. I'm not gonna copy anything. I'm gonna do, if I want a figure there, I like the vibe of such and such thing, I'm not gonna be afraid of doing that, but I'm gonna do it all from scratch. And I even went and shot references of myself and took photos of me and my wife for things that I needed references of, stuff that you obviously wouldn't do if you were just ripping something off. So I think if you want to be highly influenced, you could do something like that, right? You can just give yourself some pretty easy rails, like just let yourself be influenced, but do it on your own and change things and let things flow. And don't try to like construct like that person, still do it your way, but just let it percolate in your mind and act like you're sort of speaking, or like you're channeling the same world that they are. Also, the idea that that's like oh man, it's like those worries also are so like just a public art world thing, because all the commercial stuff that all of you love is just like, that's why you don't see process stuff from studios and the companies that make your favorite things. They have everybody's stuff open all the time, and they are copy pasting and painting things out and just stealing from absolutely everything on the frickin' internet. And it doesn't matter, because they hide it just enough that no one could ever find it. And you love it. You know, that's how stuff actually gets made. So all these worries and concerns about like, oh, what's an homage? What's a ripoff? It's like, oh, how cute. How sweet. How sweet that you think that matters. How sweet that you think your favorite things came uninfluenced from the mind of some master artist. Hi, Obsidian Grove. How are you, man? We're all drawing companions here. Who did Da Vinci rip off, though? I think... Am I remembering this wrong? I think there is actually some case for Da Vinci's Mona Lisa having been a ripoff of something. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I'm good, man. I'm good. How did the Grinch demon turn out? There it is. That's just the sticker-fied version of his head. Here's how the full came out. Eh. How do I get out? There we go. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, Adam. Obsidian. I don't know if you like going by your handle or your real name online. I want an interesting shape to that bottom, like the one I got on the first head over here. And the sound of my stylus is super relaxing. Oh, good. That could have gone the other way. Lucky me. Hi, Driftwood. Thanks, everyone, for being everybody else's drawing companion. It's a virtuous cycle of drawing companionship. Hallie. Thank you, Sterling. Is it going to be an Oni? No, these aren't Onis. These are just pandemonium residents for my pandemonium project. I want to put together a little design folio, designing out pandemonium. Look at the city, look at the inhabitants, look at props, look at fixtures. I've been wanting to do it for a while because I've wanted to record the process of designing out a design project, because I tell students to do it all the time, and I'm often greeted with, what does that actually look like? And it's frustrating not having an example to point to. So I've always wanted to just do it and record it. So I can say, just watch these 600 streams on my channel and these 400 videos, and you'll see what you need to do to design out a concept book. I know that probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people right now. Like I just said, I get a lot of confused looks when I tell students to do that, so it's exactly what I'm talking about. But don't worry, when it's done, you'll flip through it and you'll be like, oh right, one of these. Hi Mehdi, glad you could catch a live session. Welcome. This guy might look... Alright, this guy doesn't have it. He has no winning characteristics for me. This guy looks the craziest, I feel like. I guess because the eyes are looking right at us and they're like all tweaked. So I like that. But I still don't think he wins the competition to be the fleshy thick head. Because this one looks less crazy, but it looks crazy enough, but it also looks more alien, like more distorted. It has more weirdness going on. Maybe it's because like you get a little bit of profile on the nose and the nose looks odd. There's also like this weird, his eyes just feel like they're pointing forward on the head like usual. But his eyes have like this weird, they have like this oval, not oval, this like tilted ellipse thing going on, almost as if they're pointing out that way. And I really like that. All right, forget those other guys. We're doing this guy. Well, let me put some alien blobs on this guy's head and let's give him the old college try. Let's give him his fair shot. Middle has Slimer vibes. Is that from Ghostbusters? gross. It's really gross. It's just really fun to draw. That's the problem. It's hard to take drawing very seriously because it's so fun. It's almost impossible to be like, well, I'm a very serious designer. I take this very seriously because every time I try to get serious, I get distracted by the giddy, childlike fun of making cool shapes. If only it was less fun, I could be more serious and do better work, and I would get the attention of the critics. Yeah, but see those boils and dimples and stuff like that? I could just put that on the left. All right, the left's the winner. As so often happens, the first good one is the one. Probably another really good one hiding on the other side of 500 sketches, but I'm a hack, so you're not getting that out of me. All right, so let's redraw some of this, but I'm not redrawing it to make it cleaner or anything like that. I am redrawing it so that there's less lines in the way to paint over, because it would be very annoying to do a bunch of value and color work under this and then have to manually go in here and beat up all these lines. I would just waste a lot of time working against them to make things look clean. So I'm just gonna do a very utilitarian cleanup job just to get down to only important contrast points. I need to stretch my hand and drink some water. Hi, Steven. I just wanted to say that I'm at a point in my life where I trained a lot and did many studies, but I struggle a ton when it comes to make my own work. You help with your videos, though. Thank you. Yep, I know your pain. Don't give up. Keep going. Rewrite that insidious programming. It can be done. I know it's hard. I know it's very hard to, once you've built the habit of only doing studies, I know it's very hard to get back to doing your creative work, especially when it looks worse than your studies. But you just need to walk through it. I was just looking at my stupid face on my cell phone selfie cam. I was like, would your nostrils need to flare out in this position? And I think so. Whenever I do something like this, I try not to trace anything. It's like I didn't spend a very long time on these lines. Why would I trace them? I try to draw like I'm drawing the first pass again. Just trying to use less lines. So that I can paint a little easier. Where do I want the masses to sit on this? Oh yeah, I think that could be cool. Just recolor this real quick. That's right, Joe Bot. Draw every day. Just draw every day, people. Or just, you know, whatever you want. Just draw as much as you wish you were drawing. Maybe it's every other day. Maybe it's once a month. Me, I wish I was drawing every day. So I do. I just love drawing so much. And I try to internalize my goals, and you should consider doing that for yourself as well. Even if my drawings came out very poor, if I did not let that destabilize me or overreact to that, that day was a success. On that day, I was the artist that I wish to be. An artist who puts his personhood first. An artist who respects himself enough to not let the adventitious winds of drawing fate blow him about when he knows deep down it is not something he controls. Putting in completely new forms that were not in the undersketch. Like I said, just drawing like new every time. And these new forms will make it more fun to paint. More fun to paint, baby. Ridiculous. I gotta turn on a light. Who's a good little pup? You happy over there? You bored with me? Sayonara says, Steven, digging your live streams lately. Thank you so much, Sayonara. That's incredibly kind of you. I'm feeling a boon from that, truly. Have you tried using a stroke stabilizer in Photoshop or other software like Sai? I have only tried it in Procreate, but I usually don't like it. I actually like drawing kind of jittery, you know, like when I'm throwing stuff, I really rely on shapes like that, shapes like this. And when I'm hatching and stuff like that, I really rely on like really quick response time. And all the smoothing functions sort of, look at that. I kind of like kill it, you know? I don't like that. I don't like the draggy feeling. So I don't really use them. I'll use it in Procreate when it's a really, just something that would obviously really benefit from it. Like you've got a really long curve that needs to be nailed. On, let's say, a handrail. My old arch nemesis. Handrails. We meet again. Handrail. Let me guess. Two curving, perfectly continuous, unbroken lines at an equal width from each other at all times. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've done a lot of work for theme parks, so a lot of handrails. I know what you're thinking. Who would want to go to a theme park that Steven designed? Scary place. Scary, scary place. What does work for theme parks include? Oh, all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. It's pretty niche, pretty specific. I do mostly drawings. I used to do a lot of renderings for that kind of work, but these days I do mostly design drawings. I used to do a lot of like photoreal renderings of finalized designs and things like that. Nate says, how much does your dog get annoyed with you drawing all the time? Track is getting older and his ire grows the longer I sit at my desk. You know, I think she's given up on me. She doesn't directly bother me anymore. She knows the deal. She's like, I get one shot with this guy at 3 p.m. If I'm lucky, we go into the handball court and play fetch. And if it didn't happen then, I'm out of luck. I'll just sleep as much as I can so that tomorrow comes faster and we can try again. I'm pretty sure that's her mentality. Oh, I'm getting excited for this one. These shapes are going to be fun. I'm gonna try to emphasize that weird elliptical thing that I noticed in this sketch. So I'm just gonna draw a guide for it for me to react to. See where I can smuggle it in there. Yeah, let's see what I can do. So I'm just gonna try to occasionally let lines really just land right on my guide there. They should subconsciously emphasize the effect. You've always been partial to jowly-faced characters. Yep. For me, it's jowly-faced characters. I just like anything that has really wild form. I just love me some form. I just really like designing form and then finding a good solution for rendering it. I think that's my ideal. I don't just like rendering form, or else I would just do life drawings. I would be a figurative artist or something like that, a traditional figurative artist. There's a big part of the joy for me that comes from inventing a form configuration and then being like, all right, that doesn't exist. It shouldn't be possible. Let's find a way to make it look real. To communicate, not real, but to communicate the topology of the form that I had in mind when I conceived it. Hamza says, I can only draw heads facing left. Oh, well, you've put yourself in a prison of your own making. These sturdy iron bars are rough hewn from the very choices that you make every day. How interesting. The guards of this prison are nothing but your own prejudices, your own preferences. Esam says, do you think it's possible to create your own design language without being influenced by others? And would it be better or worse, do you think? I don't think it's an option. Me personally, I'll take a stand on it. I don't think you can. And I think that, I think if you think you did, you just don't understand how much stuff is going on with you subconsciously. You could trick yourself into thinking, yes, I did it on my own without being influenced by anything. And then one day you'll be sitting with your mom on the couch and she'll flip through some old family photo album and you'll see something hanging on the wall, some random thing she picked up at a junkyard or at a flea market, and it'll look just like your work. And you'll be like, stop. What the hell is that? Oh, that was just some weird little trinket I picked up at the flea market on Sunday down on 34th. You know that one? It's part of the old Episcopal church. That looks just like my art. I thought I've been doing this for the past 23 years, thinking that it was completely original, that I came up with this on my own. That was hanging in our house when I was a kid? Oh yeah, honey, you didn't remember? I just assumed you were recapitulating all of that for yourself subconsciously over and over again. You know, some sort of like Freudian free association, like everything you ever made was an elaborate Rorschach blot for your own internality. Oh God, that'll happen. You know, if you're not careful, that'll happen. So I personally don't think it's even an option to make up your own design language. You just think you made up your own design language. So yeah, I think it's just better to own that you're going to be influenced, and that way you can investigate it and choose it consciously. Then you can remix things and say a little bit of this influence, a little bit of that influence. I'm having too much fun with all those eye shapes. They're fun now, but at At that level, they're probably not going to help me in the paint. So I'm just going to quit it. It is nice to have clean delineations for different parts of the eye, though. Let's have the pink of the eye do a little Mobius strip bend there. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's it right there. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Steven, ever thought about doing a graphic novel? I have thought about it, but never quite super seriously. I think every time I have an idea for something that I think would be a graphic novel, it starts like that, and then eventually I realize that I'm just assuming it should be that because I know I'm someone who draws, and then the more I investigate it, I'm like, it should just be a book. It should just be only writing. It doesn't need pictures. I have yet to have my big story idea that really advertises itself as like, you need pictures for this one. Like, that's what it's all about. I don't know what it is, just a lot of my ideas for my own stories, just the way they naturally come to me, they would make very visually boring comics or graphic novels or anything like that. It's weird. I just get drawing ideas and writing ideas separate. It's sort of always been that way. Maybe it'll change someday. When it does, I'll be happy to try it. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, maybe, though. I just started reading Berserk the other day. Look at that, it's like, looks pretty fun to do that. But I think Berserk is really more about, considering how long he did it, it's really more about incredible dedication and grittiness. And being a master of finding your own fun. Always finding a reason to keep doing it, instead of finding reasons to not do it. Does listening to music while drawing make any difference in your practice works? I've seen a lot of people for and against it. I think it's just a personal thing. It varies for me, you know? Sometimes I'll have a session where I feel like listening to music is hurting me, and sometimes I'll have a session where I feel like I maybe would have stuck around a little longer or done a little better with some music. I try to problem solve with no music as often as I can. For me personally, I fall into it. I fall into the world of the picture a little bit easier if there's no music coloring my emotions. When I'm doing a job, though, always music. It's just very useful for keeping you awake sometimes. Thank you, Ja. I hope if you are drawing right now that you are feeling peaceful. I'm sending you devastating peace waves. These high-frequency peace waves can penetrate all curses and all emotional armor. Even if you do not believe in them and they make you upset, these peace waves instill you with a deep feeling of drawing peace. They are non-refundable and non-transferable. These peace waves have no cash value, baby. Gross. It is definitely Wednesday, huh? Absolutely Wednesday right now. Leaving these big jowls wide open. Would you be picking for next year's Chromacore? Probably not. I imagine Cynics wants a variety in who the captains are. If he even does it that way again. I think Chromacore, he likes to just leave it completely without rules so that he can run it however he wants to in the spur of the moment. I mean, not to speak for him, but I do. Our minds are linked. We are a hive mind. I'm doing a bunch of stuff right now that I know is not a good idea for the painting, and that it'll either hurt me or I'll have to paint it out. But I'm doing it anyway because it's just fun, and nothing is of greater value to me in my art practice than to be feeling the joy of lines going down. It doesn't matter what happens if I have experienced that. I have decreed this to be so, because in the world of my art practice, I am the high ruler. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, everybody. Is there always a relationship between quality and execution time in a design? No, not at all. You can definitely spend forever on something and it comes out bad. If only there was a direct correlation. If you want to spend a long time on something and have it be good for that, you have to like know how to do that. You have to know how to make the picture better at every step instead of doing nothing to it or making it worse. And what that comes down to really is just having a very clear goal. Or at least that's step one. You should be able to say what your goal is for the picture. And that goal should not be everything. That goal should not be, it has great everything you've ever learned about art. It has great gesture, has great values, it has great color, it has great anatomy, it has great form. No. No. Pick 3. Most of your favorite art doesn't have all of the elements of art. Most of your favorite art excels at a few of them. And most of your favorite artists are really only good at a couple things. They have a very specific thing that they do. They don't do everything well. Sorry about the dog. Thanks, Eva. She got mad. She heard keys jangling next door. She thought it was my wife. She thought it was my wife, her biological mother. How important is the knowledge of human anatomy for further artistic skills? If you dream of doing highly anatomical work, it is essential. And if you do not, if you dream of doing environments or doing very graphic work or simplified work or anything like that, it's not essential. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Alright, that's a fun little sketch. Let's just make some adjustments with the blue lines gone. Let me look at my stupid face in my selfie cam again. Confirmed. I look ridiculous. That was what I expected. That's what I thought. I needed to run an experiment to make sure, but I can confirm that I look ridiculous. Alright. Just gonna make this eye a little bigger. The other one looks larger than it right now. Oh, come on. So dramatic, Photoshop. Sire, I have moved the pivot point on the transformation as you asked. But you hit Alt once. Don't you want to move the pivot point over and over again, sire? What? You just want to move it once. You leave the pivot point to be so peaceful. The commoners will never understand, Lord. Apologies, Master. Your will be done. Jesus, Photoshop, so dramatic. I just don't feel like laying in flats right now, so I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna check the form. Just gonna put in a little shadow pass right quick. Ooh, those thin eyeball slits are gonna demand some very careful work. Let's see. All right. Let's do our little passes here. See which shadow pass we want to do. If we want to do left side, top side. Oh, you know what I remembered? I wanted to do a bottom lit one. Damn. Maybe this one should be the bottom lit one. Ugh, this is a hard one to do bottom lit because the face is so extreme and there's so much craziness going on. Let's see. We'll see if we do it. It had occurred to me that we had done a left, a right, a top. And I was like, might as well do a bottom, get them all. Oh God, let me just do one thing. You were gonna suggest bottomlet? Bottomlet's hard. I like it, but it's I I find it very hard to render around. It works great for something more impressionistic, you know, that's really like, I don't know. It'd be tough to make it work with that level of detail or anything like that. But, you know, whatever. We can try it. Always seem to wind up doing the ones that I think are going to be tough. I mean, we were worried Top Light wasn't going to work on the Horn Demon. But we wanted to do it because we knew it'd be cool. If we could get that extreme top light. And it worked out. Well, it worked out for me. My detractors think different. The opprobriistic vandals that spend all of their time calumniating me on the public record and in the open press and in the marketplace of free ideas don't think it worked out for me. But we'll see who gets the last laugh. Just putting some eye drops in. I'm an old man. Spend this much time staring at computer screens. I need eye drops these days. Back to doing some values. Yes, your motorcycle is very fast. Right in the middle of my podcast. Oh yeah, come on. If you have trouble inventing where shadow shapes are gonna go on things like this, two things. One, just do it a lot. Practicing it is what makes you comfortable with it. And two, that's very indicative that you are not imagining your forms super vividly. as you draw them. Get into it. What comes out, what goes in, what faces up, what faces down. And then look at a lot of photos of real world things in strong light. And don't just copy the shapes. Ask yourself when you're looking at them, what does that shadow mean about the form? What must be true about the shape of that thing for that shadow to be there? What was my experience like learning to see values? It was a long and painful road. I'll tell you that. It took a long time to develop a healthy relationship with value and to be able to lie about it and bend it to my will to get the form that I want. So if you've been catching these streams over the past few days, you've heard me say several times, good at every step, right? So even though I'm doing a bunch of passes to evaluate what direction I want the lighting to be in, the shape's got to be good. I don't want to evaluate something bad against something bad, right? So that's feeling dimensional to me. You know, if you're not on a deadline, it's like there's never really a good reason to rush. Just take your time, and every time you add something to the picture, just make it beautiful. I think that the rushing, let me just do it sloppy so that I can get the data that I need. And by sloppy, I mean really sloppy. And then I'll figure it out later. I think that's actually for masters, because masters know what they're doing wrong. They know what they're leaving on the table when they do that. I think getting too used to doing that hurts a lot of beginners. I think they would be better served by being very patient and thoughtful as they go through the steps of making a picture. Because instead of making it ugly, I could just stop it now, and I could show this drawing. It's not in some ill-considered middle area. where it's really not useful. All right, there's left. Let's look at right. Hold on, I want to cycle colors on it just because that's fun. Give me some, maybe give me some ideas for what color I'd like him to be. Oh, that's a pretty cool color. That'd be a nice way to do him. Gonna compare his colors to the other ones. Truly, is there anything better in this world than drawing? I mean, this is the most fun. God, I love this. Okay. Let's go opposite side. In the same color so that they're apples to apples when I compare them. Sterling Rodriguez says, did you find that your digital work just over time proved to be more useful for landing creative illustration work as opposed to your traditional mediums? No one has ever hired me for traditional work. Never. That's not stuff that I do because it's commercially viable or anything like that. Nobody needs what I'm putting out in the world in that regard. That doesn't mean I haven't done things with it. I'll do jobs traditional. Or sketch for them traditional when it's appropriate for the job. Not with anybody asking me or anything like that. Just like, all right, we need a bunch of designs for this thing. That sounds like it'd be well done in markers. I'll just do it in markers. And nobody cares when you do that if you're doing design work. I don't know if you could get away with that if you were doing like illustration work, but certainly a lot of my teaching is based around traditional mediums. And I've had business opportunities with companies like Proco because of my ability with traditional mediums. But no one has ever reached out to me to do traditional for a job or anything like that. It's just, yeah, companies don't really need that. Not for the kinds of design stuff I do. If I had like a career marketing myself towards companies that needed illustrations and I specifically angled myself into pencils, then maybe I would get some of that. If I did something like I was a Greg Ruth or something like that. The Everything Brothers, that sketchbook was the A3 Moleskine sketchbook. I'm gonna pop out a little light on the tongue. Oh yeah! Oh yes, yes, nom 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 nom. I could die happy. Okay. That's why I got in the game right there, baby. Mrs. Grima Grimsa says, "Hey Steven, been listening to you for a while and you're doing crazy things to my brain." Trivial question. ¿Hablas español? Well, I'm glad I'm doing crazy things to your brain. Sí, hablo español, pero no muy bien. Mi español está muy malo. Casi no lo hablo. Estoy sin práctica. I should practice my Spanish vocabulary for drawing vocab. It's funny that I know almost no words for drawing stuff in Spanish. Estoy dibujando las sombras. Estoy haciendo un diseño de, ¿cómo se dice? Personajes? Caricatura? What would you call this? What would you call a character design? Nada mejor que dibujar. Muy cierto. Let's see how this is comparing to... Alright, I gotta find some good moment on this guy to make him compete with the first one, because the first one's much better right now to me. Hold on. I'm a crazy person. I gotta pop out this tongue on this one. So, well, see, I have a nice big cast shadow on that one, on the right side of the face. Let's see if we do that. Here, how that comes out. Gracias por los abrazos. I'm excited to get this cast shadow rolling over these jowls and stuff, because when I do it quote unquote for real, I get to do this. I get to bounce over this form, then dip in, then bounce over that one, and go into this little crevice, then come out, out, down, up. Oh yeah! Oh, that's the fun right there. That is the fun right there. Hey James, thank you for the love, brother. I appreciate the love. Everyone here knows modern day James, right? I think the Venn diagram of overlap between people who watch me and people who watch James is probably entirely complete. But if you don't watch James, you gotta. What are you doing? Yeah, doesn't it always look super structural in 2 values? I love it too. It's very charming. I mean, I can't help it. I also love getting it to here, but I'm a pretty extremist person where it's like, it's either that or it's that. I hate getting stuck in a middle area. This one looks more structural. It's got the soft parts on it. We'll put the bit of the soft on there in a minute. Just doing my due diligence, everybody. Seeing what direction I want the light to come from. This is really one of the best things to be like free from reference for. To have practiced this enough that you can just make this stuff up. I can highly recommend getting off book for this, as they would say in theater. Because it gets really impractical to go try to find a reference for every one of these light directions and then try to copy the shadow shapes that are being made on a very different form onto another very different form. It's crazy making. Pure calligraphy, a lot of these shapes. You just try to make each individual one characteristic and special on its own, and then all of that adds up piece by piece so that the whole thing feels characteristic and special. I started drawing furry art solely for money, and my group of artist friends kind of avoid me. It was like closing every door. Anyways, love modern day James and Steven. Thank you, Sergio. Good luck with your furry career. I'm banning you now. That was a joke, future listeners who may not have access to the chat. I did not ban him. This is what we call a joke in poor taste. Look, man, furry art, it ain't my thing personally, but I don't know why people would get upset with you about it, especially your artist friends. I mean, look, man, look at those cave paintings. A lot of therianthropes on those cave paintings, my dude. What do you think those are? It's got the antler headdress on it. Fursuits have been around since the beginning of art. That is an ancient and storied tradition. It ain't my thing, but I think you got history on your side. Aw, James. Stop fluffing me up. Come on now. Happy to have helped. And happy to have received your wisdom in return. I always take something away from our conversations. And meeting you and talking to you was really one of the big things for me that directly influenced my thinking on, damn, I should just make a YouTube channel. Change the way I approach my life. I'm a weeb and make anime now. But definitely got me out of not enjoying art. Yeah, you were ready for it, man. I mean, you just needed like one poke. That was really all it was. You just needed one poke to be like, you got it, dude. Just do what you want to do. And look what amazing stuff you're doing now. And you really like flourished. And you're doing such a variety of things. Good for you, champ. Love this mutual admiration society. Kieran Strachan says, Zapata, I don't want to be too forward. I want to know how you make art for yourself and keep afloat. I am between jobs and building up my portfolio. Ah, the $1 million question. That is to say, don't I wish I had $1 million? It's not easy. I'll be honest. If you want to do that, for some people it's simple. And let's also say that some people don't have to worry about it ever. You know, they're independently wealthy for some other reason. But it's not easy. And it's complicated, and I think every individual artist needs to find their own way there. How do I keep afloat? The way that I like to put it is, or the way that I usually put it to people is, I'm not always making money. Like, I'm not always working. But when I make money, I make good money. The problem is just that I'm not always making money. So when I make money, I'm making good money, and I live below my means. That's easy for me. That's not like a stretch for me. I don't know. I have very simple taste. The only expensive things I buy are computers to make art and videos on. Everything else is, I just don't like stuff. Don't like cars. Don't like having big places to live that are very fancy. Don't go out to fancy dinners. That's just my personality. So it's pretty easy for me to live below my means, but that's a big thing. So I've been able to save, you know. When I am working, I have high rates, and I'm able to save the money from those rates, and I don't squander it very much. So that lets me prioritize making my own art when I can. And let's see, what else? I guess that's really the big things. It's only been very recently that I've been able to monetize any of my own art with things like the YouTube, Patreon. That's an exciting change in my life. Hey, if you like what we're doing here, consider supporting me on Patreon. Smash that subscribe button and hit that bell if you want to jiggity jangle all the way to art success. We have fun here. Anyway, stay tuned for my next video. 10 hot Photoshop tricks that will make you a master fucking draftsman next time on Steven Zapata Art. Yeah, very exciting development. So hopefully I continue to be able to do that and to grow that. I'm very committed to it now. I find it extremely fulfilling. You got to get creative. I think, you know, James is a good person to talk to about getting creative about how you're going to monetize yourself and do this whole art thing. I think in the end, all artists need to be very kind of ingenious if they want to keep making their own thing. You got to bite and scrape and find a way. It's rarely easy. It also helps to have a lot of energy, have good time management. You know, even when I'm working jobs, when I'm done with the job, I tend to keep drawing when I'm done, if it's at all possible. You're drawing with me today. Fantastic. You gotta do it. We're all drawing companions here. Alright, so we got a left side, we got a right side. I think I still like the first one more. Something about looking into the light and having the shadow on the far side really works for this one. Even though I tend to think far side key works better for most faces, but maybe it's because it's like a grotesque face. All right, let's do a top and a bottom. Maybe we'll do the bottom first and then do a top. I don't know how I'm feeling about top though, because I just did a top, so it'll probably be a bottom. I'm just gonna use the restroom real quick and then we'll do a bottom light. All right, let's do a bottom light. In my experience, and we will see if this proves true here, in my experience, and we'll see if this proves true here, for bottom light, don't do it accurate. Accurate bottom light usually looks crazy. You know, if you like actually plot it out in a 3D program or something like that, it's just like all the shadows get too nuts and they confuse the forms, because bottom light is alien enough to us as people that because we see it so little, that it's already confusing. It's already kind of, and that's what contributes to the sinister feeling. So if you do it accurate, it's like way too much most of the time. So I would just like fake it, or advise trying it faked a bit first. Careful with the cast shadows especially. Just things that face down, let them get light. Things that face up, let them go dark. It's also very hard to get beautiful calligraphy for the shadow shapes in bottom light, I find, because we're just so unfamiliar with this lighting scenario that the naturalistic quality that produces calligraphic strokes tends to recede away from us. As always, it's better that it be cool than that it be right. Do you think about focal points when designing shadows, or are you more focused on designing the forms in an appealing way? If I was doing a full painting, I would be thinking about full points. But for this, just designing forms in an appealing way. Because it's a face. A face is already like... Faces hold sacred psychological ground. You're going to look at the whole thing. So you could try to pull a particular focal point like an eye or something like that. And that's probably a good idea since Sargent did it or whatever. But... for me, your typical tyro novice hack artist, I'm just looking for interesting forms. looking for ribbons of shadow that go all the way from one side of the head to the other to anchor this thing. I don't know about letting any light hit those ears. That feels really finicky. I feel like they might feel better just completely in shadow. Maybe with like a little hit there. We'll see about that. Yeah, just looking for ways to make, I hope you guys get what I'm saying. Like, I'm looking for this. See how this shadow connects all the way across from one side of the face to the other. And this one connects all the way across from one side of the face to the other. If a line departs, I'm trying to snake it back up, connect all the way across the other side of the face. Trying to do that. Horizontal rhythms first. That's the primary thing for this bottom-lit situation. Since it's not bottom-lit and from a direction, like bottom-lit from the right or bottom-lit from the left. Who would do that? Only a crazy person would do that kind of picture. That's for psychotics. That is for pure psychotics. Hey Steven, what do you think about sculpting? It seems like something you'd like. I like sculpting. I haven't done a lot of it, but all of it that I've done, I've enjoyed. I've done a little bit of clay. Done some maquettes. I've done a bunch of ZBrush sculpting, but nothing serious. When I'm doing a really involved picture, I'll usually sculpt something in ZBrush and use it as a reference or as a tool to test lighting and color scenarios and things like that. Oh, this is fun. Get to do the top planes of the teeth. That's so specific. I love that. What color will this demon be? I don't know yet. I saw a nice green earlier that I liked. We can put some shadows of the teeth onto the bottom of the tongue because it's fun to be crazy. It's the kind of stuff you get to do if you try to make it good at every step. Pay for your art insurance because I didn't teach you sooner? I think not. You will have trouble extracting that price from me. Oh, I can't wait to do these weird lips. It's so hard to do your due diligence when you've set up some funky forms and you just want to get in there and turn it and make it cool. So the problem with top lighting is always how you're going to handle big, broad areas like these cheeks, you know? That's always the problem. And it comes down to how much you think the form bends, you know? It could be really pushed back up here, which might be nice. So that we can get things marching left to right across it, or we could leave it really broad like that and then just have a couple accent points and just rely on doing really careful rendering in that whole bottom area. It's up to you. The world is your oyster. It's easy enough to erase, so I'm just going to march across for now, because right now I want to see what it looks like if I can anchor everything. That looks really rough right now, but when we actually render everything out and we can put those shapes into a much lighter contrast hierarchy, should be alright. Should be able to make it work. If not, we can always erase back to the version where that's all light. All right. There's what top light would be. Or at least a version of top light. And if we made it that green? Oh, that'd be pretty fun. Alright, definitely something to consider. Alright, so there's top light. There's from the right. And there's from the left. is my shift not working? So there's our lighting direction options, and pull it. There we go. Go figure. So I'm actually pretty conflicted. I actually like left light. Bottom light is very dramatic and good. It's definitely good. It's like the one on the right, the middle I'm not into. I don't see many benefits to it over the one on the right. The one on the right, it's like I like it for the design, you know? It's the lighting that I like for that head. But the bottom lighting is the one I like for the series because it's different from all of the other heads. And who knows, it might wind up being the only bottom lit head. So, pretty conflicted. Pretty conflicted, I'll be honest. What if I do a cast shadow of the nose? Going all the way up that middle slot. That does something. Just simplifying some of these shapes. I like that last one. All right. Well, you know what? I've been on a long time. I clearly got to think about this, and I got to go make some dinner. It's time to cook. All right, yeah. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to commit yet. I'll sleep on it and think about which one I like better. And we will pick it up at that point, at that time, in that part of the world. All right, people liking the bottom light. They like how it emphasizes the sinisterness of the laugh. I should be. You know, something's making me hold back. Maybe I just need to beautify those shapes on the bottom light a little bit more. Or figure out some interesting transition between the cheeks and the jowls. Sorry, Joshua, but I gotta roll. All right, peeps. Thanks for hanging out. I'm out. Thank you, everybody, for being everybody else's drawing companion. It's a mutual, confusing matrix, like web diagram of every individual also being the drawing companion of every other individual. It gets complicated up in here. It really, really does. It really, really does. All right, you guys are definitely swaying me on the bottom light. I might as well just do it. Well, we'll take a look tomorrow. You know what? Good problem to have that they all came out kind of good. At least none of them suck completely. They all feel nice and structural to me. I like them all. I should just render them all. I'm not gonna do that. Peace, everyone. See you soon. Bye, Samuel. Bye, Amber. Bye, Joe. Bye, Zemi. Bye, Anne. Bye, It Is What It Is. Bye, Tatiana. Bye, Schneider. Bye, Samuel. Bye, everybody.